What is going on, everybody? It is your boy John with Grand Exploration, and welcome to another episode of The Build. Now I wish, and I want so much to have said welcome to another episode of Quick Trips so we could be on the trail, but that's not the case today. It looks like the Granite Grand is still surprising me with some issues. Now it looks like we have some alternator issues. I was driving home from work the other day and everything started going haywire. Windshield wipers were going, the dashboard was flashing, my Bluetooth cut off, radio cut off, everything. It said battery voltage low. But on the meter, it read that it was actually high. I actually reached 17 volts. Thank God the battery still looks good. There's no seepage, no smell, no swelling of the battery like that. But I did blow my switch panel to all my light bars and accessories, which I'm hoping is just a fuse because that's what should blow first. But we will see, and we'll take a look at that. But it looks like we're gonna be dropping an alternator. Now, I've already done the multimeter to see, you know, what the issue is, and we know, so I know to go straight to the alternator now. I don't believe that the problem itself is the alternator. I believe it's the regulator that regulates the amount of power going back to the battery. But unfortunately with this model, the regulator is attached to the alternator. So we gotta swap the whole thing and just be done with it. But my question to everyone, and I'm still trying to figure out why this happened. There's one of two reasons. Because I called the technician that just recently put the engine in the Jeep, and he told me that my alternator was pretty dirty and muddy from the trails. I try to wash off as much as I can from where I can in my vantage points, but the alternator, he said, was still pretty dirty, and he tried to clean it off and wash it. Now I don't know if he tried to pressure wash it or what, but you guys let me know in the comments if you've ever heard of an alternator or the regulator going bad because of being too dirty. I'm not saying it can't happen, but in the back of my mind, Jeeps are riding around dirty all the time. Now, I don't know enough about the charging system to say one way or the other, but in my own mind, I would think maybe trying to clean the alternator off could have done something. I don't know. I'm dumb when it comes to the charging systems, and I don't want to sit here and point fingers. That's not the issue here at all. These guys did a great job on my Jeep, but I just don't know. I just haven't heard of that happening with any of the Jeep buddies that I know. Sorry for the noise. So you guys let me know in the comments if you heard of that, if a dirty alternator has caused it to go out, or if you think washing an alternator could possibly ruin it. So you let me know. But I'm gonna stop burning daylight. Let's get this alternator in, all right? So first step, if I can get this camera right, is we need to unhook the battery. This is going to be a little 10 mil here. All right, so that I can get more space to the serpentine belt, I'm gonna take off the air box. Just a couple clips on the side and flathead on the intake, just to loosen up that clamp. This thing apart. Okay. The end of this intake off that goes to the manifold. It's going to be another flathead. I got a stubbier one. So we'll just loosen up that clamp. You need to be very careful with these sensors here. From what I'm told, where these ripples are, that gets very brittle, especially the older the vehicle gets. You just need to lightly slide her off to the side, and she'll come right off. Just ever so careful. Okay, so she's off right now. We're gonna take this little sensor off here. Gotta be real gentle with it. This little red piece just pops straight up. Shouldn't come all the way out. And you just work her. Now she's out. Now with still being very careful of this, don't smack that, don't even mess with it. Just gonna pull this guy out. Ugh. All right, now we got all the space we need. Good view of that belt and alternator. I think maybe once we're done here, I might give her a little wash and get all the rest of that crud out. Then the next thing you're going to want to do before you take this belt off is either draw a picture of the way it goes or take a picture, is what I did. So I took a picture so I can remember exactly where this belt goes and how it weaves through all these different wheels. So do that so you don't regret it later. All right, your next step is to release tension on the belt. We're going to take this right into the tensioner. It's right in this little socket. And we're going to give her a turn to release tension on the belt. And see where it starts giving. We can kind of pull it up over. There we go. All right, belt is off. Next step is, let's get rid of these ground wires. So we're going to unhook the ground wires to the alternator. You have this one here, I believe this guy here, and yeah, and then we'll go to unbolting. Oh, and then we also have a cord, that red one right there, that goes to the regulator. So once we can get this alternator freed up a bit, we'll be able to access that and detach it. This is a 10 mil, by the way. So here's your alternator. We have these two bolts, 1 and 2, both 13 mil. We need to undo those guys, and the alternator should drop. All right, that was my bad. I thought it was just those two bolts that would release it, but I think just that guy there that's connected to the ground, I believe that is the last bolt. That is also 13 mil. So let me unfasten that and see if she drops. So realistically, I didn't need to remove the ground from the frame. I could have just undone that 13 mil bolt on the bottom that connects the negative or the ground to the alternator, and both will come out, killing two birds with one stone. But we're learning. But once we remove the nut that held on the ground wire, which was a 13 millimeter nut, now there's a 13 millimeter bolt. That's what you undo to relieve the alternator from its position. So there's two there. There's a nut for the ground wire and then a bolt holding in the alternator. All right, we got the alternator dropped here. We just need to unplug these 2 cords and we will be good to put the new one in. Just remember how these go. The first one was easy. It just comes right out right there. This one has a little cap on it. So if you move the cap, you got another 13 millimeter nut on there. All right, we got the old alternator out. We'll look at the regulator back here. There is a good amount of mud caked up on the back of that thing inside. So I don't know, still I'd like to hear you guys in the comments, see if you ever heard of a regulator or alternator going bad from dirt, or if it's more likely that washing it could mess it up. But now we got the new one. She's looking all pretty and clean. This is the Ultima, and I got this from O'Reilly's. It is a little pricey. It's about 500 bucks, but it comes with a lifetime warranty. The dealership quoted me over $1,000 for the job and the part, and that only came with a 2-year warranty. So this one seemed like a better option for me, and I knew I could do the job myself. So let's put her in. What I forgot to mention was, since we were down here doing the alternator anyway, I might as well switch out the belt. So here's the old belt. Still a good belt. It's not frayed or torn or anything, but I had a new one with me. Look how nice and clean she is. Like I said before, take a picture of this belt before you disassemble it so you can remember which way it goes. But to put it back on, the method that worked for me best was, of course, you're relieving tension, just like that, okay? And where I started the belt was actually on this one, on the driver's side. I got it wrapped around there first. I did not go up to the top. I actually started going down and around, up over the tensioner, and I put it around this one, around the alternator. Then, with tension relieved, I was able to pop it onto the top one here. That method worked for me. You may have a different method, but that seemed to be the money. So there we go, new belt on. All right, there you guys have it. That is the removal and installation of the alternator on a 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, before you start worrying about spending thousands of dollars at the dealership or a shop, check out YouTube. It's the craziest tool we got at our disposal. You might be able to do it. I believe in you. But that was the video for installation. Same steps, just reverse it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And wish me luck on the Grand. Hopefully next week we'll be back on the trails. All right, guys, until next time. Love you. Peace.